The sun burned relentlessly over Glenelg Beach on a warm summer's day, January 26, 1966. The air was heavy with the scent of salt water, a crisp breeze pushing through the palm trees. A picture-perfect beach town where the world seemed at peace, until, suddenly, it wasn't. On that fateful day, 3 innocent children, a brother and 2 sisters, would vanish without a trace. A shadow cast over a bright summer afternoon, a disappearance that would go unsolved for decades. The Beaumont children, Jane, 9, Arnna, 7, and Grant, just 4, were full of life that morning. Their mother had agreed to let them go to the beach alone, just for a few hours as they had done so many times before. But there was something different about that day, something unseen, something sinister waiting. At 11:45 a.m., the last known sighting of the children took place. They were seen walking toward the playground near the shore, laughing as the waves broke along the sand. The children played together, their voices ringing out over the ocean breeze. But by 12:30 p.m., they were gone. There was no sign of struggle, no cries for help. They had simply vanished, as if the earth itself had swallowed them whole. The moment the police were alerted, a full-scale search began. The beach was combed, the surrounding areas scoured for clues, but nothing substantial was found. The only lead? A mysterious man, reported by witnesses who had been seen talking to the children just moments before their disappearance. His description was vague, tall, dark hair, wearing a strange overcoat. He never seemed to fit into the normal rhythms of the beach that day, and yet no one could explain who he was or where he had come from. He didn't belong. As the days stretched into weeks, the media frenzy grew. Parents and locals alike were haunted by the same question: where had they gone? Was this the work of a stranger, or had something even more disturbing been at play? Investigators scrambled for answers, sifting through interviews, examining possible leads, but all roads led to dead ends. It was as if the Beaumont children had never existed, as if they had been erased from the world entirely. Months passed, then years. The case, once the talk of the town, faded from the headlines. The voices of Jane, Arnna, and Grant echoed faintly in the minds of those who had loved them, but the investigation lost its steam. Cold, disinterested, the police did what they could, but without concrete evidence they were left grasping at shadows. And the silence grew. But this silence was not peaceful. It was oppressive, suffocating. Every corner of Adelaide seemed to hum with tension, as if the city itself held its breath. No matter how many searches, how many interviews, how many witnesses came forward, the answers always danced just out of reach. The investigation turned into a haunting refrain. Questions that would never find their answers. The children's names were whispered in the dark, but the trail was cold. Their faces on posters and newsprint began to fade, their laughter silenced by the passage of time. Then, in 1973, another disappearance occurred. It was a chilling echo of the Beaumont case. A young child was taken, and there were striking similarities. The same eerie quiet in the night, the same strange witness accounts, descriptions of a man seen near the scene, but the police were too distracted, their resources too limited to see the connection. It wasn't until years later that the thread was finally pulled. DNA samples from a suspect, a man who had been previously investigated in relation to another abduction case in the 1970s, revealed a connection to the Beaumont children. The eerie realization sank in that the man had been suspected all along, but it wasn't until technology and hindsight combined that the terrifying truth began to surface. Was he the man who had been seen talking to the children that day? Was he the one who had walked away with them? The puzzle pieces began to fall into place, but the answers came too late. Too many years had passed. The children were gone, and with them the possibility of closure. The man, a shadow of a man whose presence had haunted the investigation, remained a phantom figure, slipping through the cracks of the case like sand through fingers. Despite the emerging connections, authorities could never fully tie him to the crime. His motives remained unclear, and his involvement, though hinted at, never proved. The children's bodies were never found. There were no signs of a struggle, no forensic evidence that could explain what had happened that day. The haunting questions hung in the air like a fog, wrapping around everyone who had tried to seek answers. What kind of monster could take 3 children from a beach in broad daylight and leave no trace? What made them disappear without a sound, without a fight?